A comprehensive guide to early year racing pigeon breeding. Introduction. Racing pigeon breeding is both an art and a science, requiring meticulous planning, deep knowledge of genetics, and an unwavering commitment to the welfare of the birds. Early year breeding offers several advantages, such as producing young birds that are physically mature by the racing season. This guide covers the entire process, from pairing pigeons to feeding and rearing chicks until they leave the nest, based on over 20 years of experience in the field. The importance of early year breeding. Breeding pigeons early in the year, typically from January through February, allows young birds to grow during the mild spring weather. This timing ensures that they reach optimal fitness and maturity by the racing season. Additionally, early breeding provides ample time to evaluate the young birds, identify potential racers, and prepare them for training. Preparing for breeding season. Selecting the breeding stock. The foundation of successful breeding lies in the quality of the breeding stock. Select pigeons that have demonstrated outstanding performance in racing or have a lineage of proven racers. Key factors to consider include physical attributes. Look for strong muscles, robust wings, and a well-balanced body. Health. Ensure both birds are in excellent health, free from diseases or parasites. Temperament. Opt for birds with a calm and confident disposition, as these traits often translate to better racers. Health check and pre-breeding preparation. Before pairing, subject both male and female pigeons to a thorough health check. Consult a veterinarian to rule out infections or underlying health issues. Administer necessary vaccinations and deworming treatments. Provide a balanced diet rich in vitamins and minerals to boost their vitality. Setting up the breeding loft. A well-organized loft is essential for successful breeding. Each pair should have its own nesting box to minimize stress and competition. Ensure the loft is clean, well ventilated, and free from drafts. Provide nesting materials such as straw, pine needles, or shredded paper. Pairing pigeons. Natural pairing versus controlled pairing. Natural pairing, allowing pigeons to choose their mates naturally, can result in stronger bonds and more attentive parenting. However, it may not always align with your genetic goals. Controlled pairing, manually selecting pairs based on desired traits, ensures better control over the offspring's characteristics. Introduce the chosen pair to a neutral mating pen for a few days to help them bond. Monitoring pairing progress. Observe the pair to ensure compatibility. Signs of a successful pairing include mutual grooming, cooing, and nest building. If the pair does not bond after several days, consider repairing them with different partners. Egg laying and incubation. Timeline and egg handling. Female pigeons typically lay 2 eggs within 10 days of pairing. Mark each egg with a pencil to track their laying order. If breeding multiple pairs, consider replacing the eggs with dummy eggs temporarily to synchronize hatching times for fostering purposes. Incubation process. Both parents share incubation duties, which last about 18 days. Ensure the nesting area is quiet and undisturbed. Monitor the eggs daily for any signs of damage or infertility. Candling the eggs around day 7 can help confirm viability. Feeding breeding pairs. Nutritional requirements. During breeding, pigeons require a diet rich in protein, calcium, and essential vitamins to support egg production and chick development. A typical diet includes high-quality grains like corn, peas, and wheat. Protein supplements such as legumes or commercially prepared breeding pellets. Grit and oyster shell for calcium. Multivitamin supplements in the water. Provide fresh water daily and avoid sudden dietary changes, which can disrupt digestion. Hatching and rearing chicks. Hatching process. Chicks usually hatch within 17 to 19 days. Ensure the parents have access to ample food and water during this period. Do not interfere excessively with the nest, as this can stress the parents. First days of life. Newly hatched chicks are entirely dependent on their parents for warmth and nutrition. The parents feed them crop milk, a nutrient-rich secretion, during the first week. Ensure the breeding pairs are well fed to produce sufficient crop milk. Monitoring chick growth. Chick growth can be divided into distinct phases. Week 1, chicks are blind and covered in down. They should be gaining weight daily. Week 2 to 3, eyes open, and pin feathers begin to emerge. Provide additional protein in the parent's diet to support feather development. Week 4, chicks start to resemble adult pigeons. At this stage, they may begin exploring the nest. Weigh the chicks regularly to track their development. Any significant deviations may indicate health issues that require intervention. Feeding the chicks. Transitioning to solid food. Around 3 weeks of age, chicks begin pecking at solid food. Scatter small grains or softened pellets near the nest to encourage self-feeding. Continue to monitor their progress and ensure they are eating adequately. Supplemental feeding. If the parents struggle to feed the chicks adequately, Consider hand feeding with a syringe and a specialized formula. This ensures the chicks receive sufficient nutrition without overburdening the parents. Weaning and leaving the nest. Weaning process. By 4 to 5 weeks of age, most chicks are ready to leave the nest. Gradually separate them from the parents to encourage independence. Provide a dedicated weaning area with access to food, water, and perches. Training and socialization. During the weaning phase, introduce basic training exercises, such as short flights within a confined space. Socialize the young birds by allowing them to interact with peers. This helps build confidence and prepares them for more advanced training. Conclusion. Breeding racing pigeons early in the year is a rewarding endeavor that requires careful planning and attention to detail. From selecting the right pairs to ensuring proper nutrition and care, every step contributes to the development of strong, healthy racers. By following the guidelines outlined in this report, breeders can maximize their chances of success and produce a new generation of champions ready to take on the racing season. The phenomenon of pairing pigeons during a full moon has often been mentioned with a smile in the pigeon sport community, appearing almost like a fairy tale to those unaware of its intricacies. Years ago, a friend pointed out to me that I consistently paired my pigeons during a full moon, attributing my success in breeding high-quality pigeons to this practice. At that time, I had never heard of the full moon theory, but I listened to the seasoned enthusiasts who discussed it. They explained that coupling pigeons precisely during a full moon would result in superior offspring compared to other times. Through my investigation of this theory, I have discovered the following details. When we pair our pigeons during a full moon and take into account the time it takes for the eggs to be laid and hatch, we arrive at the exact moment when the young hatch from their eggs. Interestingly, this aligns with the subsequent full moon and the timing for coupling during that phase. The philosophy behind the full moon mating theory suggests that the young pigeons in the nest benefit most from the intensified rays of the sun reflected by the full moon. This continues for approximately 13 days until the next new moon. One might dismiss this as a myth, but I have examined my breeding records and compared the outcomes of pairings during full moon periods with those during other times. Consequently, I have developed a preference for coupling during full moons. Thus, there is a kernel of truth in this theory. But what role does the full moon actually play? During the period surrounding a full moon, there is often stable weather with ample sunshine. It is widely known that young animals require sunlight for proper development, and it certainly doesn't hurt if the loft is bathed in abundant sunlight during the first 14 days of a young pigeon's life. Moreover, in the pigeon sport, it is recognized that pigeons rely on sunlight for orientation. Could it be that these factors work together harmoniously? It is established that there is indeed a certain relationship between the orientation ability of homing pigeons and sunlight. Homing pigeons, migratory birds, certain salmon, and butterfly species share the common trait of possessing orientation skills. Whether or not they possess this ability largely depends on whether Mother Nature has bestowed it upon them. Similar to how a pigeon's body grows each day until it is ready to be weaned, the organ responsible for orientation skills also develops during the same period. This holds true for racing pigeons, migratory birds, and certain butterfly species like the monarch butterfly. However, there is one exception: pigeon fanciers are the only ones who interfere in the development of the orientation ability. In fact, they determine what a young pigeon receives from Mother Nature to foster its orientation skills, or whether it receives anything at all. In the open air, the timing of pairing chosen by pigeon fanciers is usually different, as it is dictated by Mother Nature and the parent birds. One can observe this when various bird species simultaneously hatch in nests. Is this mere chance? Nonetheless, there are certain caveats. We must acknowledge that numerous factors, or properties, collaborate to ensure the successful return of a racing pigeon from a race, with orientation being one of them. Even in the wild, the development of orientation abilities does not always proceed as desired. In exceptional cases, migratory birds may still be present in nature during the middle of winter when they should have already embarked on their annual migration. There may also be migratory birds in our vicinity that we would not typically expect to encounter, often being birds less than a year old. The reason behind this lies in a specific developmental phase during which Mother Nature did not provide them with sufficient resources to develop their orientation skills successfully. In the past few decades, pigeon fanciers have also contributed to such deviations due to trends in widowhood, darkening techniques, tight and inflexible flight schedules, and the desire of every fancier to become a champion someday. A quick look at the statistics reveals that 30 years ago, half as many pigeon fanciers bred twice as many youngsters compared to the current scenario. Why do we engage in such practices? Primarily to have as many pigeons left after the young bird season as possible. Yet the quantity and quality of these pigeons often prove disappointing when compared to the overall number produced. Homing pigeons, migratory birds, certain salmon, and butterfly species utilize a specific type of energy source for orientation during their homeward journey or annual migration to the south, or vice versa. Without the ability to generate or access this energy, these species, including homing pigeons, cannot orient themselves. The sun undoubtedly plays a vital role in this process. Every pigeon fancier knows from personal experience that the most beautiful and often the best offspring are bred during the months of April, May, and June. Furthermore, it is rare to lose any of these pigeons during races towards the end of the season. The difference between winter breeding and summer breeding is evident in the number of sunlight hours and the strength of the sun. Each year, the sun gains strength starting from the end of March, which we recognize as the onset of spring. The timing when the sun begins to strengthen is determined by the preceding full moon before the 21st of March. From that moment onwards, the sun progressively provides young pigeons with the necessary building blocks for developing their orientation skills. On the contrary, young pigeons born before that date receive a proportionally lesser amount of these building blocks. It might be wise to adjust future coupling dates accordingly. Young pigeons, whose parents are paired in mid-February, always reap optimal benefits from the favorable conditions that Mother Nature offers them during their growth phase. In the past, the racing season would commence at the beginning of May, but now it starts a month earlier, with the desire to organize races even earlier. However, one could argue that the problems began with the advancement of flight programs. Previously, racing pigeons were coupled in mid-February, and winter breeding lofts were not as prevalent. To conclude, intervention in nature always comes with a price. Returning to the topic of pairing with a full moon, I will take it into consideration this year. If it does not yield benefits, it certainly won't be detrimental. Lunar influence. The full moon has long been associated with various phenomena and beliefs. It has captivated human imagination and has been linked to folklore, myths, and cultural practices throughout history. While scientific evidence may not fully support all claims, the moon's gravitational pull does have tangible effects on Earth, such as ocean tides. Animal behavior. Some studies suggest that certain animal behaviors may be influenced by the lunar cycle, including mating rituals, migration patterns, and feeding habits. For example, marine animals like coral spawn during specific lunar phases, and some species of birds adjust their migratory patterns based on the moon. Nocturnal activity. The brightness of the full moon can affect the behavior of nocturnal animals. It provides natural illumination, making it easier for animals to navigate, hunt, and communicate during nighttime hours. This can be observed in various nocturnal species, including owls, wolves, and certain insects. Circadian rhythms. The full moon's light can also influence the circadian rhythms of animals, which regulate their biological processes, including sleep-wake cycles and hormonal activity. Some studies suggest that certain animals, such as rodents and primates, may experience disrupted sleep patterns during full moon nights. Reproduction and breeding. In some species, lunar cycles are believed to synchronize with reproductive processes. For instance, certain marine organisms time their spawning activities with the lunar phases to optimize fertilization success. However, the extent to which the full moon directly affects reproduction in different animal species is still an area of scientific inquiry. It is important to note that while these observations and associations exist, the full moon's influence on specific animal behaviors and reproduction can vary widely across different species. Furthermore, scientific research in this field is ongoing, and our understanding of the full moon's effects continues to evolve. Overall, the full moon holds a place of intrigue and fascination in many aspects of life, including the natural world and cultural beliefs. Whether its influence on pigeon breeding and racing is scientifically proven or simply based on anecdotal evidence within the pigeon sport community remains a topic for further exploration and individual interpretation. Free racing pigeon tips and lots of info. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Look at the links and email below. There are many reasons to buy my racing pigeon method. Here are some of the best reasons. You will get excellent results. It's a very simple system to use. It's affordable. I have had over 400 first prize winners. It's adaptable to any situation. You can use it with any racing method, natural, widowhood, young birds. It's a very effective method. There is no need to spend a lot of money on fancy pigeon products. It's a reliable system and it is foolproof to use. Professional athletes, race horses, take the same products. There is science behind this, not just hearsay. It is all to do with red blood cells and oxygen in the blood. Without that, a pigeon will not race well, or an athlete will not win a race. If he has low oxygen in his blood, the above is fact and is 100% science. There are a few things you can do to improve your chances of winning at racing pigeons. One of the most important things is to learn as much as you can about the sport. You'll need to know the different types of pigeons, how to train them, and how to race them. Another key factor is practice. You'll need to be able to fly your pigeons competently in order to win races. And, of course, you'll need to have the funds to invest in racing pigeons and other racing equipment. Free racing pigeon tips and lots of info. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, look at the links and email below. There are many reasons to buy my racing pigeon method. Here are some of the best reasons. You will get excellent results. It's a very simple system to use. It's affordable. I have had over 400 first prize winners. It's adaptable to any situation. You can use it with any racing method, natural, widowhood, young birds. It's a very effective method. There is no need to spend a lot of money on fancy pigeon products. It's a reliable system and it is foolproof to use. Professional athletes, race horses, take the same products. There is science behind this, not just hearsay. It is all to do with red blood cells and oxygen in the blood. Without that, a pigeon will not race well, or an athlete will not win a race. If he has low oxygen in his blood, the above is fact and is 100% science. There are a few things you can do to improve your chances of winning at racing pigeons. One of the most important things is to learn as much as you can about the sport. You'll need to know the different types of pigeons, how to train them, and how to race them. Another key factor is practice. You'll need to be able to fly your pigeons competently in order to win races. And, of course, you'll need to have the funds to invest in racing pigeons and other racing equipment. Free racing pigeon tips and lots of info. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, look at the links and email below.